guys, welcome back to another Doom of Fools episode. We have one of the best Esper Control guys that I know. You love him. We got Max. What's going on, Max? How you doing, buddy?
We're doing good. How about you?
Man, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about it. Today we're going to start a mini series on the pod about kind of how underrated Esper is, kind of Esper Control, and we're going to get into a spicy-ass Raffine deck, and I can't wait. I was just geeking over it, and we are like, save it for the pod.
Yeah,
so
we're about 30 minutes of just pure...
Yeah, just yapping, yeah.
Like, you and I going back and forth, like...
Yep,
we should just start the cast at some point here.
Yeah, I should have just recorded in the beginning. But anyway, so first time on the pod. So when'd you get into Magic? What set and kind of when and how'd you get into CDH?
I started in Innistrad, like many Legacy players. When RTR rotated out of Standard, I switched over to Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
This was back when Countertop was legal, and you had to learn how to know. You had to know how to beat Miracles. Otherwise, there was no point of actually playing Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Played that for many years until, of course, we started getting Fire Design, and 2019 comes out, and they're like, okay, we're gonna have one-sided effects like Kara and Lavinia, all that crap. Like, it's like, Legacy's not becoming as much fun anymore.
Asymmetrical.
And then, yeah, so like we're being asymmetrical. Of course, I was an idiot and decided to build Strawberry Shortcake as the first Legacy deck.
What's that?
And that's Painter Servant.
Oh, I love that card.
Yeah, anyone who's played Legacy would immediately know what Strawberry Shortcake was, but yeah, it's just a painter deck, throw like artifacts and doing Blood Moon on the board, stacks out your opponent, and then cast like a two card combo when done.
Sounds disgusting.
Yeah, so I played that list, but then unfortunately, when you build that list, you don't buy any of the cards for the rest of the Legacy format. So yeah, that got really boring really quickly. And then at some point, of course, Modern came out, and I switched over to Modern for a little bit. This was when Grief was legal, and I did Esper Blink. Not Esper Blink, Orzhov Blink with Stoneforge Grief. Nothing like opening up with a Grief and just flickering that thing. That's great.
Oh, man.
Then, of course, COVID hit, and, well, really for me, it didn't really change too much. We ended up just playing in someone's basement. We played Modern like 1 week, Legacy the next. And then, but it was the whole thing was like, everyone had a commander deck. And so, like, no matter whether you were a Modern player, like a Legacy player, a Standard player, you still had a EDH list of some sort. And I, at that time, had Nekusar built. It was just basically just high-power Nekusar. Of course, I'm the arch enemy every single time. Because, I mean, anyone who's read Nekusar would understand that. And ended up, at some point, selling off most of my collection. And tried to buy a car. Don't do that. If you're going to at least do that, don't buy a modified vehicle that doesn't go well.
Talking about Magic or real life? I hate vehicles.
Real life. Yeah, don't buy a modified vehicle in real life where you sell you off your collection that is your Magic cards to buy the car, to then come find out that there's a lot of issues with the car. So then I had to get into Proxy Magic, and local store, well, I say local, it's about an hour away, in Milwaukee, the Mana Vault, which when we get to, if we ever get to see my tournament results, most of mine are all at the Mana Vault. And
I know the owner. He's really cool.
Oh yeah. And so playing Legacy there, and then of course doing Commander on the side, coming back into the format. And at some point I'm like, hey guys, we got a group together. You guys want to learn CDH? Like, cool. Yep. So actually, the first event we ended up doing at Mana Vault, I actually ended up playing Slicer. Just so that way I could see the field. Like, I'm playing the most simple deck. Like, here, cast Slicer, go Boots, done. And then at some point I ended up switching over to the Raffine build. I forget exactly when, but yeah, no, I've been playing CDH for about 2 years now.
Yeah. Yeah, Raffine's been about 2-3 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, Raffine was Capenna, but I don't think I picked up the list until about a year ago.
So that's funny. The same set as Tivit.
Yeah.
I hate Tivit. I hate that stupid deck.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll talk about the comparisons later. So
Yeah.
that's cool. So you're fairly new into CDH last year or two, and you're
Yeah.
killing it. I can, if you want to send me your EDH top 16 record. I couldn't find it earlier, but I didn't know your name. But
Yeah.
it's all good. So how do you feel before we get into Raffine deck tech? How do you kind of feel how Esper is nowadays? Like when you feel in a pod, when you're in a pod, are you just do you feel like it's hard to control three players? Do you feel like it's very strong right now? Because I think it's very strong, but I feel like the better pilot you are, the better you're gonna be in Esper. But when everybody like we're talking about when Hashton got printed, everybody built Hashton, and then nobody was winning with Hashton because they built the more weird Valgavoth build, the big stuff, and they were winning because they realized that Esper is hard to play because you don't just have I win buttons. You need to sit back
Yeah.
and do your stuff. So how does Esper feel right now in this current meta? Because you do play tournaments with it, the Raffine deck, right?
It kind of branches out the fact of like you're taking the choice to not play red effectively by not like i.e. playing blue farm for a reason. More of that takes like a commander specific choice on that one.
Yeah.
But like how do I phrase it? Shoot, I just went blank.
You're good. You're good, brother. Well, nowadays I feel like it's easier not to play red. I feel like you're just not missing out on reach, right?
Yeah.
Like with all these new cards, I feel like red is just really, like Magna's still really good, but like Unreal Reach is like the only thing why you play red nowadays, unless your commander is doing something specific, right?
Yeah. So in the Esper control thing of like, technically you're just Demir or Azorius and mashing them together. You're trying to find the best of both worlds of like the best like Demir spells you can use to counter magic to do counter magic, and then the best Azorius spells of not only like countering spells but removing stuff from the board. There's like you got your swords, you got your paths, you got your get lost, your soul, like your what's the soul partition is the other one. Is the other third. I don't play soul partition.
I feel like Azorius is really good, and Demir got way better post ban. Like Azorius decks are like a thing now. Like before, they would just look at you like, "Why aren't you playing red? Like, why are you playing Demir, not Grixis?" And it's like now it's okay.
Well, that's the thing is like you got the Plagons that are gonna be. I'm gonna draw cards and I'm only gonna draw interaction. I'm only like I'm gonna fight you on the stack no matter what. I have minimum win cons, so I'm just gonna fight you on the stack. Heliod, I haven't seen a Heliod in person yet, but that's kind of close to the same idea where you're just gonna do the Heliod thing, make people draw cards so your spells are cheaper, then cast the broken shit.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. It's just one of those decks where you need a good pilot. Right, and I mean, let's kind of talk about it. The best Esper deck nowadays for the last 2-3 years has been Tivit. So we were talking about, okay, why pick up Raffine and not Tivit? And it's like what you were saying, Master of Keys, Tivit, Raffine. What was the other one? Timna Malcolm.
Kind of.
Hashiton is they're all different decks. Well, maybe not Timna Malcolm.
Timna Saka.
Yeah, but just the other four, not Timna Malcolm because it's kind of similar, but it's a little different. Yeah. But with the other four this is a different deck than Tivit. Tivit is just, doesn't care about his creatures, doesn't care about combat, plays stacks pieces. I agree. I think it's more stacks and control. It plays its Stranded Magistrates, it plays its stacks pieces, has a 1-card combo, turn your brain off, play Esper. Right?
It's like find a way to cast a 6-mana commander. If you can't cast a 6-mana commander, slow down the game.
Right.
Like, get to the point where your 6-mana commander is the most cheapest thing on the board.
Hashton is, I want an early Rhystic Study like every other deck, and I want to do this weird discard thing, and it's a little slower. Raffine, to me, is more aggressive. I've never played the deck, but it's more like, I'm going to hit you in the face. And like you're saying before, the difference of Malcolm Timna or Malcolm Takashima in this deck is Raffine is a combat damage, like, that's a win con. Timna's not doing that. You're like, I'll draw 5 discard. Draw 5, discard 5.
Like, when we all are staring at each other going like, okay, well, you got interaction in hand? Like, you got interaction in hand?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to go to combat, and I'm going to deal 15 to you? All right,
cool. Pass turn. Hold my interaction up. I didn't do anything. Timna, you have to, like, kind of do stuff progressively. If you have a few creatures, right, I assume?
I think the other thing that, like, Timna in the command zone has the issue with is having creatures to attack with. Because, i.e., like, Raffine's going to attack, you get the bonus connive, but now your creatures are bigger and harder to block. And like it's like Raffine is designed to combat, while I think that the Timna Malcolm builds are more like we're gonna generate value off of what we can hit with.
Right, right, exactly. And again, I feel like with Timna, it has like Thoracle, and then like
Mm-hmm.
Meme Betrayal, maybe, and like Praetor's Grasp. Like that's the win cons.
Well,
Rafine
that's
is like, I'm gonna beat you to death and draw a
mm-hmm,
shit ton of cards, and if you don't stop me, I have a Thoracle. Right?
mm-hmm.
Like I was reading your
Well,
primer a
that's
little
like
bit, and it's
that's like
good.
the issue with like Esper, and like one of the downsides of running the Esper control thing is like your combos are limited. You got Bolas, Thassa's, and Time C for the Tivit decks.
Yeah.
Like
Even
I don't.
yeah. For me, Esper Control, like the Bola Citadel Adnos plan, isn't even that good. Like, yeah, Adnos is
No.
good, but like every time I play Esper Control, I'm like, I don't want to cast Adnos ever. I don't want a Bola Citadel. My deck
Mm-hmm.
doesn't just explode like that. I want to sit back. So
Well,
what's
even the idea of like doing like a Necropile is like, yeah,
ugh
you can't shift
yeah
from
ugh.
you can't shift from not Thassa's as your Necro win. So like
Right
you
right
don't have the breach, you don't have anything else. Like so like I don't even like Hash plays Necro because then you can use it to like discard and make the Hash
Yeah,
trigger
well, it's a
happen.
value. It's a very fair
Yeah,
necro, like
yeah,
Glarb. Necro and
yeah.
Glarb is really good because you could see, but it's more fair. You're not winning the game most of the time. And I feel like with Esper, you don't want to like chill, control the board, hang out. Oh my god, I just put a spell in the stack that we have to interact with. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's not what Esper wants to do at
No,
all. Esper
no,
wants to
it's chill.
stop you guys, sit behind a Ristic study, and then be the second or third person to go for it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just Esper in a shell. So in tournaments specifically, because I've just played Esper deck in the Boil 2, the biggest CDH tournament ever. How does Raffine kind of counteract what we just said, and how does Raffine personally feel in tournaments? Do you feel
Well,
strong? Do you feel weak? Do you feel slow? Do you feel fast?
I feel great when I'm playing Raffine.
Yeah.
Because as like if you look at, when we go into the history of it, like
Hmm.
I think that like this last weekend was the first non-top 16 finish I've had in 4 months.
Really?
My first top 16 finish was 12/28, so December.
Yeah. Well, I
So yeah,
mean,
4 months.
well, let's just do all statistics 2025. You have 5 tournaments, 23% win rate, 80% conversion rate. That, my friend, is ridiculous. You're not
You sure
lying.
you're reading it right?
Yes. Uh,
Okay.
you went to
It's
five
supposed to-
tournaments. You went to
Yeah.
5 tournaments, and 4 of them you've top 16.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because I have my all years on. I got like 40% for my all years.
No, I'm just talking about 2025.
Okay, yeah. So conversion rate. Okay.
So
now I understand.
this year, 5 tournaments, 4 out of 5, 80%. That is good.
Yeah.
Like I like to look at like the post meta stuff. I don't really
Yeah,
look
that's
at
good.
last year's.
Yeah.
Like we can look overall as a player. I just mean, did you take Raffine to all 5?
Yes, I've been on Raffine every single top finish.
I don't. Yeah, I don't care if the tournament has 10 people, 50 people, 1,000 people. 80% conversion rate is still 80. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like numbers don't lie,
Yeah.
right?
But so like, as I was kind of saying, like we're playing a stack of control cards.
Mhm.
Raffine itself is sculpting every single turn to try
Mhm.
and have the perfect interaction as you pass the turn, as
Mhm.
well as like you do this whole thing where you go like, all right, main phase 1, move to combat, declare my attackers, connive, sculpt the hand. Now we resolve damage. Who I mean, I'm attacking down the Azon's player. The person's got the stacks piece that's holding me back.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's you're never doing nothing with 15 power on board. You focused on one person, they're not staying long. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I've been playing a lot of Modern with my buddies, and I'm CEDH all day long. I don't play other
Uh-huh.
formats, and I don't personally like Modern. I don't like other formats, but it made me I feel like a better Magic player because I realized like, oh, I guess this 3 mana 3/3 flyer stacks piece dragon is insane in constructed formats, and then when you convert it over, like remember back in the day, like the winless win conless stacks decks, Like that was a
Oh,
thing
yeah.
3, 4, 5 years ago. Maybe not
Yeah.
anymore, but I
Yeah,
feel like
my,
we could probably do that in the future where it's just damage. I would love a deck that's just damage. Like Winota. Winota's still insane. Just people smarting up about Winota.
oh,
There's
yeah.
another
Yeah.
card like
Sounds
Winota
like
that's
get
going
rid
to
of it,
get
yeah.
printed 100%. If you don't, it does not matter if you do not remove the Winota, it is a problem. So people are like,
Yeah.
Winota's bad. No, people are terrified of the boogeyman,
Yeah.
so we don't let her fucking have a soul ring. Right?
Yeah, this is like I remember the tournament days where you're like, yeah, how'd you lose? Oh, well, Winota had Jewel Lotus on turn 1.
Jewel Lotus
what else?
Mana Crypt land. Turn
Like-
2, 3 Winota triggers.
Yeah, like
Slammed a fucking Rick turn 4 and we died to
explain
damage.
to me, yeah. Explain to me what like counter magic is supposed to like do that. I was supposed to keep forcing it on during my mulligan. Yeah, I totally knew that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to Ian about the guy that made comedian, the guy who made Winota,
Yep.
and I was like, how does Winota feel post meta? And he was like, well, my fiance is killing it with Winota, but people look at me and look at Winota, and I can't cast anything. So he's
Yeah.
like, I personally don't play it in tournaments because he's tried, but that's because, but like, I give Winota to new players. It's like, hey, you want to hold people down and, you know, do the thing.
Mhm.
But anyways, I think there's one more thing I wanted to say before we got straight into Raffine. So you're saying Esper does feel good? Raffine
Oh, yeah,
does
it's
feel
great.
good to you? Like,
I mean, the main
you're
thing
not really
is like
the threat, right?
And like the one thing I end up finding out when I'm usually the threat. It's just like I usually have such a board that they can't deal with it.
Yeah.
But what is it? Like whenever I switch off of Raffine,
Mhm.
losing that draw advantage always becomes a thing I always note. Because then like your mulligans matter so much more. If you have bad cards in your hand that don't interact with the board, you can't do anything. And
Mhm.
so out of like the top 5 like Esper commanders is like you got of course Tiv is the stacks deck, the Tim the Malcolm is going to be looking like almost like Raffine.
Mhm.
Hash is going to be doing this like graveyard symmetry things, which I mean they got a lot more combos nowadays.
Mhm.
But like Hash is now a KOS commander. And then you got
Mhm.
Zur, which we all know Zur is just neck opponents in the command zone.
I
And
think
that's,
Zer's still good, but I think he's seen his day.
Yeah, and like definitely got outshined by a couple other.
Well, he was the
commanders.
Winota before Winota.
Yeah.
You can't fool anybody nowadays with Zer.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
like
gotcha.
looking at your opponent goes like, hey, you can't have neck opponents as your commander. It's not my commander. It's Zur.
What are you talking about? I'm getting a Mystic Study. Come on,
yeah,
man.
No, it's no.
Come on, brother. All right, let's talk about this Raffine. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Was there anything else you wanted to say about Esper Control, or?
Not particularly. That's unless we'll we'll note some things as we see the list.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
So this is a list that he made like more for beginners picking up the deck, and
Yeah.
then we can get to his list later. There is a primer. He said, this is my pickup and play list. I have many other lists that are more tuned and tested, but you can start here. In the primer, I know many other builds and card options. So let's go ahead and read this fucking Sphinx Demon. So he's Esper Flying Ward 1, which, why does he have Ward 1?
Don't forget that part. Yeah, don't forget about the ward part.
Your opponents
I literally
do.
had somebody cast an Eldrazi, the 10 mana Eldrazi, and then forget the ward trigger. Because, like, I think it was Ulamog or whatever, just like, exile Raffine. I'm like, ward trigger?
The Ward 1 trigger on the stack. Ah!
Yeah. Everyone forgets about that part until, like, it
Right.
matters, and, like, I'm going for, like, a Doomsday line. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I gotta say, he does look really cool. And this is one commander deck I never really picked up. So Flying Ward 1, whenever you attack, target attacking creature connives X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Can you explain connive for us?
So connive is so X value is number of attacking creatures. So simply explain: 3 creatures attack. You're gonna draw 3, and then you're gonna discard 3.
Yep.
If you discard non-lands,
Put a
your
counter.
whatever creature connived will get +1/+1 counters. Now, take note: we're in CDH where we want to draw a shit ton of cards. So sometimes you may just start discarding lands to keep the interaction in hand. It's not always a 1-to-1 that you want the +1/+1 counters. It's not always a 1-to-1 you want the cards in hand. So.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me, I'm a big Tevish guy. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah.
But Ledger Shredder is one of the best Tevish cards for blockers. And I couldn't tell you how many times I still get people of, okay, I'll block with Ledger Shredder. cast a spell, connive, pump them up, and they're like, oh, what? What's connive do again? Like, I feel like that's a very secret command mechanic people don't know about. Yeah.
And that's what the downside to connive is that it's not a May. So
Okay.
like if you were to use the Abdel Adrian line of going infinite creatures and go to attack with a Raffine out, you'll draw your whole deck, which sometimes can be good, sometimes can be really bad. One other note is like many people who have heard the Raffine will see that I'm not playing the reanimation spells because due to the fact you have that 1/1 discard, a lot of people are playing the Razaketh, the Jin Kataxis,
Okay.
the what's the newest one that people are doing now? Oh, I saw a Hoarding Broodlord line in one of these lists.
That's interesting. Like the animate discard and combat animate dead it or something.
Anime did it. Well, because like you were going to discard cards. At least you could discard cards you want in your graveyard.
Yeah, or
With
at least
one
on
of the upsides.
reanimate, right?
Yeah, I do have reanimate, but like then you'll add like you'll add in the animate deads, the Dance of the Dead, the Necromancy. There's a new one, Soul Exchange or whatever that I keep on forgetting about. But like the first step in any reanimation build is you got to figure out how do you get the fatty in the graveyard. Yes, Raffine will discard them. Well, then that means that fatty's got to enter your hand first. You need to then make it a combat attack to get rid of the fatty that has no use in interaction. To then put it in the graveyard. Then you go ahead and go like, all right, I'll animate dead, target Razaketh. Everyone's gonna go, well, he can win with Razaketh. We need to stop this. And it's like everyone burns every single piece of interaction. It's like, you know what? No, I'm just not gonna waste my time with the reanimation effects. I'm just gonna be a high value, draw cards, interact, deal damage.
Okay, yeah, I noticed there's some builds like that where it's like they feel kind of clunky, right? Where you're like, you don't need that. You want to be an Esper. You want to be efficient because mana is kind of a pain in the ass.
I mean, in CDH in general, you want to be as efficient as possible.
Yeah, like my Soul Tide Tevish deck, I cut Hullbreaker for a long time, but in that deck, I make so much fucking mana. 7 mana instant speed win con is not bad. But in a deck like this, Razakash is dead unless you're doing the thing and then doing the thing and then people see you do the thing and then you have a reanimate and they can counter. I see where you're kind of off of it a little bit.
Yeah.
What about like Raffine's history? Has he like really done anything in tournaments? And like, is this a regular build of Raffine or is this a special build? Like, if someone were to go to your top 16.
Oddly enough, you have the one guy who's putting up top results in the last year. I think I saw like if you go back exactly a year, like in the 2024, there was one other guy that had a top 16 list. So ultimately, I'm kind of the only one that's getting the results with it. I see a lot of lists put up like they're still in the reanimation build. Whenever I sit down and someone thinks they know what Raffine build I'm on, they'll say like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna just reanimate some big stuff, and we're gonna move on with our day." Like,
Okay. That's funny. You're like, I'm not doing that at all, but you're right.
Yeah, I was like, go ahead. And they're like, oh yeah, you're on Adnos. I'm like, well, if I'm the reanimation build, I'm not on Adnos.
Yeah, you're definitely not an Adnos. Is Rev just the best card ever for this deck?
Oh, it's amazing because like, okay, so like, Blue Farm players picked up Rev because they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna attack, we're gonna do things. Raffine's a combat deck. I have highly evasive creatures. I have many of those evasive creatures. Like you were keep on. Like up in the beginning, you can see the Ocelot Pride.
I saw that.
There.
I saw that. First strike, lifelink, baby.
Well, and then like you just get extra cats, which then freely go in for attacks, and you get extra connive, and then maybe even those little shitters will get in. And now you got a Rev trigger. Yeah. Sarah's great one.
Mockingbird, Fairy Mastermind. All these guys are evasive.
Yep. Like you take the evasive factor, and then of course chuck a Delny in front of all that. Not only do you get double connive triggers, and now all these small little dudes are gonna get in.
Yeah, for me, I'm on Timna Sakashima, but for me, I feel like Delny and Rev made this deck like a deck again.
Oh yeah.
Especially post ban, like just these two cards alone, double Raffine triggers, double Ogmas, double Prides, anything that I care about at doubles. Also,
I mean, you still also play Timna in the 99.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it's just chilling right there.
Holy
right
shit! I've never seen a list. That's so funny. I'm on Joda,
like
SpongeBob, and I'm on Timna.
Yeah, so like you get the whole factor of like you're gonna attack, and then like you go post bang and you go Timna trigger. So like not only did you get your Granada trigger, you also got your Timna trigger.
That's so funny. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, no, it was just chilling there the whole time.
Let's talk about this fucking house of a new card.
Yep.
I bet you licked your chops when you saw this.
Oh, dude, I ended up in an argument on Discord with my Discord group about this card.
Oh my god.
They're like, this card is such a good blue farm card. I'm like, yeah, that's a great blue farm card, but you know what's even better in? Raffine. And they're like, oh, Raffine's a B class deck, whatever. I'm like, dude. Yeah, but the factor you get the can't cast spells on your turn, and then now you got to mobilize too.
Yeah.
So then you got your shitter from the beginning. So we'll say we had a Sarah's turn 2 voice, and then you go into cast Raffine. Now you're like, all right, well let's connive. Let's trigger mobilize, connive up the voice of victory so it doesn't die. Now we got a connive of 4.
Yeah, right. It has a big butt.
And now you've seen 4 extra cards over everyone. Yes, it's a 1/1 draw discard, but you're 4 cards deeper than everyone else in the.
This creature should be a 1/1, not a 1/3.
Oh yeah, I mean like it also does kind of scare me about the amount of like now silence effects added in, like the one not the sound effects, but the grand abolisher effects that you can just have now. I'm like actually on the like backside of this is where I'm not playing Raffine right now. Is I'm working on a Turbo Loris build, where it's just like all the silence effects you can play, and then it's a rock side with silence effects.
I'm working on a Mardu deck, kind of the same idea.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Mobilize 2 is almost as good as the Grand Abolisher deck in the right deck. Like, when I saw this printed, I'm on Najeela, and I was like, this is just the best Najeela card in the last 2 years? Like, besides Gornog, maybe? Like,
I mean,
ignore the bottom text. It's a 2-mana warrior I can cast turn 1. Or, I'm sorry. It's a 2-mana human I cast in turn 1 that brings 2 warriors. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that part doesn't trigger Najeela, but I have that's damaged. There's so much other things that it can do, and like Warren Soul Trader lines, I can sack them for mana. Like, there's so much card this does. Also, it's a Grand Abolisher. And then someone was like, oh, well, what about Timna decks? And I was like, I didn't even think about Timna decks. I didn't even think about Raffine decks. I didn't think about decks that give a shit about combat and this. Like
the number of attacking creatures.
Yeah. Well, this deck and Timna decks are turn 1 Voice of Victory. If you don't stop it, now I have a Grand Abolisher. Turn 2, swing with my commander. Draw 3/4 cards. Like, blue farm, TNT, this deck. Like, this card should have never been printed. Like, no, what are we doing?
Way too much.
Oh my god. And like you said, now I feel like Esper's on the rise. How many silence effects now? We have 3 creatures. Silence.
I do not play silence currently. That's
you don't?
Something I'll get into later.
Okay, that's fine. That's okay. But just creatures. Yeah, Grand Abolisher.
3.
Are you on Ranger Captain?
Yep.
Hold on.
Grand Ranger Captain.
Okay.
Ranger's Captain is next to Tim, though.
Yeah. Grand Abolisher, Ranger Captain, and this. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah. And like, Grand Abolisher is a kill on, hey, we have to interact with Grand Abolisher. Mm-hmm. You can casually cast a Voice of Victory, and you're like, Mobilize 2 is great in my deck. And then 3 turns later, people forget about it, and you have a Voice of Victory out. You know what I mean? Like, Grand Abolisher on the stack, we have to interact with. Voice of Victory early game. That's when I would cast it. Turn 1, turn 2, y'all know I'm not winning, I'm an Esper. Like, just let it resolve and deal with it later, and then later happens.
Like, it's got mobilized. I'm just gonna like attack and draw cards.
Right, it's a 2 mana. I'm getting 2 1/1s each turn. It's really good. And then turn 4, you're like, you know all those cards I drew? I got a Voice of Victory.
Well, and then the craziest thing is like those mobilized creatures, those warriors, they don't die at the end of combat, so you still have them for access for like Diabolic Intent or Phyrexian Tower, for that matter. And as we go back to Ocelot, if we get the City's Blessing, those will also stay as well.
No, I thought Voice Victory they do. Sacrifice them at the beginning next end step.
Yeah, they moved it all the way to end step so you can use them in main too. For like, as I said, Phyrexian Tower.
Yeah.
You can use them as sack outlets.
Yeah, I haven't even gone down. I'm still geeking about the creatures.
Good.
But talk to me about you said Street Wraith is a Doomsday Pile.
Yep.
We're on Timna. We're obviously on Yorkish. What about Dalthy in an attack? Is this just Shadows really good, or you want to stop Breach decks?
The evasive part is really nice. Dalthy even gets crazier when you have a Loris out, because then you get the actual ability to. I can switch the printing for you so you can actually read it.
It's okay. We all know what Dalthy does.
Yeah. So like, it you sacrifice to target a spell.
Mm-hmm.
You then use Loris or Reanimate to bring back the Dothy. You then cast that spell and it immediately will go right back into the Void Zone. So like like you see an Imp Seal, like you'll have an Imp Seal under there because like everyone's just like, we're gonna Imp Seal in front of the Dothy. Alright, cool. I got an Imp Seal as a later tutor.
Mm-hmm.
So like the evasive part matters, but the number of times in which he also can just be activated to then recast a spell that someone's put in the Void Zone.
Yeah, and also how Douthy Voidwalker works is, say they give you an Imp Seal and you have to crack him for a counterspell or something. If you lures him back or bring him back, he sees. Yeah, he doesn't have haste, but he sees the old cards, right, with the void counters.
Yeah, I even made a void card to think it's awesome.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I like that. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about Luris. That was the next card I was gonna talk to you about. Is this just really good value?
oh, it's great because like as I said, like you're gonna be it's a 1-to-1 discard. So
Oh
putting
yeah, it's
some
a discard deck. Duh.
Yep. So it's a 1-to-1 discard. There's also other people who can run Containment Construct, which is whenever you discard a card, you could exile it and then cast it for the turn. And
Mr.
Containment
Kimura.
Construct is a 2/1.
Okay.
So I don't play Containment Construct because it just
Once turn each
immediately
turn
dies
you
the
make.
monster.
I love it. Like, all right, I'm not gonna pay for Amora on 2 turns. Luris, Remora.
Yep. Recast Remora, recast your Bowmaster that died because someone found theirs.
That's
if
so
Thassa's
funny.
happens to touch the graveyard because the first time it didn't resolve, just refire Thassa's, refire the Grand Abolisher
That's
got
so
countered.
funny, dude. That's why you don't judge a book by its cover. When I first looked at this list, I was like, what the fuck is Luris doing? Get this shit out of here. And then I'm like, oh, this is just the best card in the deck. Okay.
Yeah.
This is insane.
Oddly enough, what's even funnier is like I've had this in Luris in the list since conception. I think I've maybe used it like 3 times.
Okay.
And then I've been playing this for a while.
That's so funny. That's hilarious. What about Labman? Is that just another backup win con?
Labman is part of the backup win for Doomsday, as well as I kind of mentioned is like the only active win con in this deck is Thassa's. So having an alt of being able to use Labman as the alternative Thassa's out.
Okay. Yeah, you're not on Praetor's Grass or Mean Betrayal.
No.
Okay, well, damage, right?
Yeah.
Would you like say I'm thinking about sleeving this deck up for someone like me that's experienced in CDH, hasn't really picked the deck up. Is this like the most generic list, like, or like with Doomsday? I would probably take Doomsday out because I personally don't like Doomsday. Or is this a card that you cannot play this list without Doomsday?
So we get to the point of Doomsday, and then we go back to Raffine. Like you mentioned Glarb earlier, which gets to just cast Gush off the top of the deck with Glarb.
Yeah.
Raffine just draws the whole pile.
Mm.
You make your Doomsday pile pre-combat, go to attack, draw whatever pieces you need, immediately cast it. I mean, the number of times of which I just make the 5-card pile, which is just all counter spells and then a Thassa's.
Yeah.
It's like Doomsday piles are super simple nowadays.
I was gonna say, you just Doomsday, have a lab man out, Raffine, draw 6, win, right?
Yep.
Like it's just that simple.
Or you make your top 4 being all for Thassa's. So like you got your Street Wraith, your Gush, and then you leave Labman at the bottom for when the Thassa's didn't work.
Oh, just in case. Okay.
Yeah, as a just in case. I do note in the primer like a couple quick piles, but taking note that like you literally could just draw the whole pile.
Yeah, when we're done with this, I gotta compare this to your actual list that you play.
Yeah.
That you've. Yeah, are you on Doomsday? On your
Yes.
real list? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's that strong.
I put it in one time just off of a whim because I'm like, I could draw the whole pile, and then like I ended up like topping a tournament by casting Doomsday every single time I won.
Okay. What I like about Doomsday in this list, like I didn't really like it in Glarb because I mean you maybe play it in Glarb sometimes, but with this list, what Saltai has that Esper doesn't have, we were talking about earlier, is the I win button besides Thoracle. I like it in this list because like you just said, hey man, I got a 3-mana I win button with my commander. Like I like that because you normally you're not on Hullbreaker, you're not on infinite mana outlets, you're not on the crazy green finale devastations for 1,000,000, right? You have it was turn 5, shit's crazy, Thoracle got countered, Doomsday.
Yeah.
If Doomsday doesn't get countered, you win, right?
Oh, the most fun ones are when you go turn 1 Dark Ritual Doomsday, and then everyone goes, Yeah, I didn't keep a hand for that. So you make a 5-card pile, then the whole game becomes revolved around the fact you made a 5-card pile that's going to win in 2 to 3 turns, and they don't know.
What the fuck is the 5-card pile?
Yeah, like everyone's sitting there like, what is in here? They're like, well, I don't see Thassa's, I don't see Land Man. I'm like, well, if you notice, I only have like 1 land on the field, so one of them's a land.
Yeah, it's
and
a
like,
land
just, like, some
tutor.
Yeah, it's like some random slow pile where I'm just like, I got a 5-card EDH deck. What do you guys want to do?
That's so funny. Also, what's funny is it says search your library and graveyard.
That's the part people forget.
Yeah, I forgot about it too.
Yep, I had that once happen where I was like, all right, cast Doomsday, and then like I pulled my Fierce Guardian, like I cast Doomsday, I had to use a Fierce to protect it. Then proceed to then grab the Fierce out of the graveyard. The guy goes, whoa, I didn't know you can grab from the graveyard. And I'm like, okay, we'll call a judge for you, but like I've clearly picked up my deck and took 4 cards out of it, and then of course grabbed this Fierce. Like, it's gonna resolve this way, but we'll call a judge just so you know the rules.
Well, I can show you the card. The card says it.
Yeah, and it's like it's like this is the fun part of like comp REL. Is like you're supposed to read the card.
Right,
like,
right.
When you go yes, it resolves. Then yeah, you should have read the card by that point.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly. Don't be like, oh, it resolves. He doesn't da 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 da. His winds are in the graveyard, and then it's resolving or middle of resolving it, and you didn't read the card. That's on you and Jesus.
Yeah, that's good.
we're playing in a tournament. Like if it's with your buddies, hey man, da 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 da. But we're in a tournament, dog. Nah, man, it's resolved. We pass priority. So we'll go down the line here. It looks just very standard, right?
Yeah, like
Serenite is cool.
All the sorceries are literally just tutors.
Tutors. I like swords. Are you in Path as well?
I do not have Path as well in this.
Okay, we're on Floodmaw. I love Floodmaw. Yep. Chain of Vapor. That's interesting in a control deck. It
is awkward, but sometimes you just gotta.
Sometimes you need it. Yeah.
You bounce it and then counter it when it comes back down. Like.
Okay, are you not on Rift? I noticed a lot of people are cutting Rift.
No, there's no Psychonic Rift. Oddly enough, you don't really have 7 mana in this list.
Okay. I see that a lot. Flood Maw is just better in every, unless you're like big mana like Grixis or Sultai or Simic or Teamer. I notice a lot of the blue-black decks are cutting Rift. Cabal Ritual. Okay, cool. And we're notably
you're discarding, so that threshold is very easy to get.
We talking about earlier. We're not on Bolus, Necro, Adnaz. We're straight control, Soul Partition. I like all the extra. In my Tempt Sakashima, Tempt Malcolm deck, I was on like 10 to 15 removal spells, and people thought I was crazy. But in a deck like this, you need it. Yeah. Is this the one where it destroys and counters stuff? Like this is like so good in your deck.
I know. Well, then John, everyone's like, oh, it's not that good. I don't want to play it. I'm like, you realize that it interacts with anything 3 or less naturally.
Well, in your deck, your deck it's good because the graveyard.
Well, no, it's an opponent's graveyard is what it checks. So
in its controller's graveyard. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But then take note that that's their 2 fetches, and then their first tutor they cast. Now they got 3. And you can counter anything 3 or less or kill anything 3 or less.
Well, and you're not winning before turn 3 for the most part anyways. Yeah,
you can't cast Journal Left for free.
No, but that's what I'm saying. This deck isn't trying to win fast. So you're winning after turn 3, so it's naturally going to have 3 to 5 cards. Yeah. And it could this is one of the best cards in Talion.
Well, it's because also Talion's got the room for it. Like it's like, oh well, what else can I use as a carousel?
Yeah. But even 2 mana counter a Demonic Consultation or counter a Esper Sentinel or anything, and it's counter target spell, destroy target creature, right? If you hit the limitations of your graveyard, you can hit anything, and there's not a lot of counter spells anymore. People are very greedy nowadays. What do you unpack? Force Will, Mindbreak Trap, that's it.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Well, that's the fun bit when you see the blue farm players going I got an interaction. It's like, dude, you got 9 cards of counter spells.
Right. Exactly.
Get on level.
Yeah, get out of here. Deadly Rollick. So is Gus just Doomsday?
Gus is part of Doomsday, if you can use it.
So what is your natural Doomsday pile while we're talking about it?
My normal one is just using Raffine to draw the full pile, as much of the piles as I can. Putting Gus's up higher in the pile.
Okay. Like a normal one, if you.
But if you have no devotion, no nothing, you're gonna have to have 2 islands.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Gush is on top, then Street Wraith, then Thassa's, um, then a counter magic or a mana source if you need it.
Okay, so you just need to
And then
figure a way to
you,
draw the fifth card, the top card,
yeah.
right?
Well, and then you leave Vladman in the pile as like a hidden card.
Mm-hmm.
You can just draw for turn for this instance. Cast Gush, floating the mana from um, floating the mana from your lands. Cast a Gush for returning your two islands to hand. If anything, replay an island. You now have Street
Okay.
Wraith in hand. You'll have Street Wraith and then Thassa's in hand. Technically, you can cast Thassa's right now if your devotion is if you're more not worried about Thassa's getting killed.
Yeah.
Because now you've got 2 cards left in library. Thassa's gives you a free devotion at 2. I mean, obviously, if Thassa's about to get killed, you're going to want to go ahead and Street Wraith that last 1 more card away, and even more.
Okay, I gotcha. I just feel like the downside, like I love the Doomsday Raffine plan,
Yeah.
but the downside is you probably have, if you're playing Doomsday, you have to play Street Wraith and Gush, and those cards are just so bad, right?
You played Connive.
Yeah,
Guess what's a free discard?
yeah, I guess you're
You
right.
see those you see those things early, you're just like, all right, Connive that way.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that, and put counters on your stuff. They're
Yep.
non-lands. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right. You talk me into it.
You can also play Gataxian Probe if you want to check your opponent's hand. Same idea. You pay 2 life, draw a card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I gotcha. So pretty basic stuff. Raven Charm, is that just Ristic Studies insane?
So,
Just
like,
remember-
Risk Study, Smothering Tithe is also, like, we're drawing 6 cards a turn. So, Smothering Tithe is going to get out of hand really quick.
Yeah. And as per control deck, you don't want people to outvalue you too.
Yeah. That and also we're a creature deck, so, like, the removal side of Raven Charm is just that good. Also, Breach decks, the exiling in the graveyard comes up. It really does.
Okay. What I like nowadays is the modal spells.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, people are, oh, I'm playing Nature's Claim and I'm playing this, but it's like they're not really that diverse. Raven Charm hits 3 different things. Remove the best card in the format, Ristic Study or Mystic Remora or Smothering Tithe. Top 4 cards in the format. Breach is still really good. Also, I'm in a creature deck. I love this card.
Yeah.
I love
Just
this 2
immediately
mana
remove.
common. Yeah, that removes
Yeah.
anything you want it to do, and it's never a dead card, right?
No,
All right, I'll
no,
just
actually
remove the blocker. I'll remove your Talion. I'll remove your commander.
Yep.
Swing in. Yeah, I like that. So, is there anything else that? Oh, enchantments. We gotta talk about these bad boys.
Yep.
Are you on Sensei?
The Sensei Stop is right
I
there.
love counter
As well as
top.
Counterbalance.
I love it. That's one of my favorite combos in this fucking
Yep.
game.
You're an Esper control deck, and actually, awkwardly enough, it is the only spell that can counter Angel's Grace. The
Yep.
only way to counter Angel's Grace.
Yeah, and just playing. I played a lot of like Grixis, Tevish, Crom decks, or decks that's always drawing, Tivit decks. Counterbalance by itself does a lot of work. If you're drawing
yeah.
cards and you can consistently move it around, and then Sensei's Top is just the gravy. Like, you don't need
yeah.
a Sensei's Counterbalance. It's just when you get that, it's almost unstoppable.
Well,
right?
the one downside of the Counterbalance is if you don't have like some draw engine or a way to clear the top card of your library.
Yeah.
Like you'll reveal a land and everyone goes, okay, well I can't do Underworld Breach combo right now, but I can cast literally everything else.
Yeah, but in a deck like this, though, you're not doing that. You're on Esper
No,
and
yeah.
Ogma and Ristic Study and Mystic
Yeah.
Remora. Your game plan is drawing cards, right?
Oh yeah.
Timnas,
Italian.
Italians, Fairy Masterminds. Yeah.
Yeah, or you can just like do a Vampiric Tutor to get something.
Yeah, Enlightened Tutor, right? Enlightened Tutor,
Enlightened Tutor,
Vampiric
Vamp.
Tutor. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
100%. I'm down with the Sensei Top. Telepathy, is this just because this is for like beginners? Like, we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier.
Telepathy I think is actually really good in Raffine, as in the factor that like you're conniving. Like the one big thing you're going to end up doing is you're going to be looking at like a 10-card hand, knowing you got to discard 5 of these cards, going, all right, well, is this card good? What can I opponent do? And it's like you're thinking, because you're doing 2 different things at once. You're trying to handle a combat step, you're trying to handle interaction until you get to your next turn. You're thinking about like, okay, when's this person going to combo? When am I going to combo? Having telepathy to sit there on the board and go and have all the information when you're conniving, great, awesome. Also, player 1 has counter spells. Player 3 has a combo in hand, but no counter spells. Player 3 is not going to go to combo because player 1's going to counter them.
And you're
We're in a
just sitting
combat
back.
deck.
Yeah.
We're in a combat deck. When we sit back, we just attack.
What I like about this, it's asymmetrical.
Well,
You guys got to play with your hands revealed, not me.
Oh yeah.
I'm chilling, so I kind of like that.
And the best part is like you go and look at your opponent and go, "Oh, only use your force a little if you don't mind." And then it's like, okay, they got counter. All right, well, let me now use my stuff.
Right. You can kind of force their politics. Like, hey, man, but we see your win. We see your stupid 3-mana creature that gets your Basalt Monolith with 1 mana telepathy, and you're just like...
Timna Kadama has the Hulk pile in hand, and we need to try and do something about it before that all happens.
And
I watched a Rockside get freaking wheeled because he had all the pieces in hand, and someone went, well, I got a wheel to get rid of this, so let's just go and do it.
But they wouldn't have known because Rockside's never showing their hand.
Oh, yeah.
And then you 1 mana telepathy.
Yeah, unless it's on a stack.
You're right. I got you.
Yeah, and then there's also the other side effect of, like, yes, the card has, like, literally 7 words of text on it. The other part is like, you see your opponent's hand, you know when they're done for the turn. There's no hiding it. You know when they're like, you don't got a person sitting there going, like, well, I'm thinking now.
Right. And especially if you're a good player and you know what they're doing before they know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of know where to interact. Like, no, I'm not going to hit the bait and switch. Oh, he has a Grand Abolition in hand. I kind of like that. So the problem with telepathy is I don't play a lot of decks, like heavy control decks like this. And for me, like, I don't feel like you're on a lot of counter spells, but you're on a lot of removal spells, and you're on stuff like counterbalance telepathy. That kind of makes up for that other counter spell, right? Like a dispel or an offer, right?
Well, sometimes you can't catch everything on the stack. You have to get things up cleared off the board.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 counter spells, but you have 6 pieces of removal, counterbalance.
There's also one you missed up in the creatures. I don't know if Aven Interrupter's in this build. No, it's not. Aven Interrupter's not in the build. Okay, never mind. It's in the other build.
Oh god, I hate that card.
There's like 2 other creatures that have counter magic.
We'll get to that in a second.
Malevolent Hermit is also up there too.
Yep. Is that card a staple? I forgot to talk about it.
Malevolent Hermit is not particularly a staple, but it is highly functional.
I mean,
another
in this
one
deck.
Yeah, like definitely if you're picking up this list, see Malevolent Hermit, like you can cast it early for the front side, have a mana leak on the front side. The other side is when you discard it to connive, now you get to cast the backside without having to cast the front side first.
Yeah, I just never liked Hermit because people see that you have a Hermit and they try to bully you into doing it every time, and you're like, no, I want to do what I want to do it.
Well, that's usually what ended up happening, why you don't see Mausoleum Wanderer in this build. Mausoleum Wanderer is sacrifice a counter target instant and sorcery spell equal to its power. A lot of the times in which people will be like, a lot of people will sit there and go, oh yeah, if you don't use that, we lose, and then to proceed to like draw and win on their turn because they had the counter magic.
Right, exactly. All right, last card I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Is this worth it?
Oh, 100%. It's really weird because you tap out for the turn to cast that spell, and like you're just hoping that like nothing ends up happening in between your next turn and when you casted that. That's like the worst downside about the card is that it does nothing on the first time you cast it. You can end up drawing into some free interaction.
Well, if you have Raffine out, right?
Well, yeah, if you have Raffine out, so like
out, draw 8, discard 8 instead of 4. Like,
well, no, actually, it's draw 8, discard 4. So you actually net cards.
Okay.
Also, take note that like this works with Timna, Talion, Fairy Mastermind, Rhystic Study, Mr. Gamora. It's anytime you draw an extra card, you get to draw 2 instead.
It has the Orcish Bowmaster text.
Yep.
Oh, I just saw a huge card not in here. Where the hell is Smothering Tithe?
It is actually that Steel Enchantment that's sitting in there.
Okay.
This list isn't really too keen on needing the extra mana. You have the Lotho to like generate the mana when you need to. Also, too, is you don't want to have to waste your time protecting the Smothering Tithe, because now everyone's running that Steel Enchantment for the Rhystics or the Smothering Tithe.
Gotcha.
And between the end of it, like this is the deck that's going to draw the most cards. They'll want to take that Smothering Tithe, so offering the ability for it to be commandeered even yet. Oh no, not
I
going
like
to give them the
Commandeer
option.
for this list. All right, so you're about 10 cards different.
Yeah.
So Lavinia, what the hell is Urtai's meddling? When target spell is successfully cast, put
I'm
X
gonna
delay
pull it up
counters
so
on it.
everyone else can.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, pull it up. Let's go ahead and play the game of like, what does this card do?
When target spell is successfully cast, put X delay counters on it. X cannot be 0. During each upkeep of that spell's caster, remove a delay counter from the spell. If the spell has no delay counters, it resolves. Alright guys, we just read it all together for the first time.
Yep, but it's not on the screen.
What the fuck?
You haven't switched it over yet.
You don't see it?
No, I don't see it yet.
How do you not see it?
I don't see it. You're still on my other list on the feed. Oh, there you go. Now you're on the other list.
Sorry about that. I don't know why I did that.
All right, now you can bring it up.
When target spell is successfully, yeah. So the spell resolves, and then you're like, no, it doesn't.
So this is where this card was somehow list printed and wasn't updated in its text.
Mm-hmm.
This is the original text from when it came out in Mirage, I believe is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, what successful spell means, you've paid the mana and put it on the stack. That's when you've successfully casted the spell. What this spell actually does is it exiles the original, and then delays a copy of it for later. So now delay is counter the spell, put 3-time counters on it. This is exile the spell, so it gets around Cavern of Souls, Veil of Summer, Supreme Verdict, Hullbreaker Horror.
Right. Oh, like say a counter war, right? Okay, I'll exile your Force of Will until next turn. Like, okay.
Yeah, then you just don't care.
Yeah, sweet. That's cool. I like that. That's sweet. Aven Interrupter. That's cool.
Yep, that's another exile by.
Yep.
Exile instead of counter.
Yeah, that's a really good like Naya card. Let's see. Spell Queller.
Queller.
Flash flying 2/3/1 and Azorius. When this creature enters, exile spell with mana value 4 or less. When this creature leaves, they may
it's just
cast
ultimately
it. Okay, cool.
It's just ultimately exile instead of counter, and as I mentioned, Supreme Verdict. I was talking with some Rock Thrass opponents, then when how the fact that like you need to keep Rock Thrass like controlled is you need to keep their creature count low. So you're gonna be using your Texas Deluges, and then one guy goes, well, I mean, if you're in Esper, like just Azorius, you're gonna want to be playing Supreme Verdict. I play with a lot of creatures. Supreme Verdict hits me pretty hard too.
I was gonna say, yeah, yeah, I like that. What about Containment Priest? Is this card just
Containment Priest
busted?
is for it's great for the kin index. It's great for any like green X list. One of my buddies plays a Hulk list, so we end up getting to use that many times. It stops Derevi from being able to use
Flicker decks, Sisay decks, right?
Sisay's kind of because Sisay could just switch to the Planeswalker combo line.
Okay.
So that's where like a Weathered Runestone would be more effective.
Okay, I gotcha. Well,
but when, of course, when we get to the next card, yeah. So it's anti-flicker. It does a whole bunch more.
I'm gonna talk about that guy in a second. Enduring Curiosity, I love this card. This is one of my favorite Temnant cards. It's just so good in every way. It doesn't go in. Yeah, it's 4 mana, but you can 4 mana in step. Now you have a Curiosity. Now you're drawing 6 cards.
Well, and even too, like there is like a cycle of I think 6 different 4-drop blue X's where there's Binding to Thoughts, which is an artifact, and then like I think another there's a vehicle that's 4 mana that does it whenever you hit with a creature you can draw a card. But there's like 5 different ones that have that ability. This is the only one that's a creature.
Yeah.
So like you can go ahead and connive, discard it, reanimate it.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Get Lost. I like Get Lost, Phyrexian Tower.
I
Ornithopter
prefer
Paradise. Okay.
I prefer Get Lost over Soul Partition because it actually like gets rid of it.
And like it hits creature and enchantment. That's the 2 things that you want to hit.
You really don't need because like the artifacts you would think you would care about is like Grafdigger's Cage or Curse Mirror. You scroll down and miss it in the other list. Curse Mirror's in the other list.
Curse Totem, you mean?
Yeah, Curse Totem. I always say it wrong. My bad.
Yeah, you're good.
The Curse Totem like for the Magda builds, and the course Sisay, both of the like. We don't really care about the artifact stack pieces that people are gonna play.
Right, Grafdigger's Curse Totem. That's Esper. That's why Esper's good.
Well, and even then, like you think like, oh, well, do you care about a Trinisphere? I'm like, no, I'm just gonna finally cast a creature and beat face. Like, you guys are all slower.
Yeah. I didn't notice you're on LED in the other list.
It's part of the Doomsday piles.
Oh, okay.
So like, if you have no mana, you can go ahead and crack. You can go to trigger to draw a card, crack LED for the 3 blue.
Yeah, I love
Mist Rise is also a new hotness. It enters tapped in this deck, so that's why I don't play it in my official version.
Yeah, I wouldn't play it.
But hey, it's another way to make it spell uncounterable. Go for it. Have fun with it.
I think Enlightened Tutor's the only thing I'm just kind of like, there's no way you don't play, but you play the deck, you master the deck, I don't.
Well, consider the fact of like what you can get. It's like, yeah, some people want to have an open Ristic. I don't need a Ristic on board. I'm drawing 6 without it. Like,
yeah. Okay.
So
before I let you go, we got to talk about this stupid dragon.
Yeah.
If we think Voice of Victory is good in this deck, is this card, have you been able to cast it yet? Is this just a housed? Like, this is a deck that can probably use this really well, right?
Oh, yeah, because, well, also noting that, like, the Malevolent Hermit was not transferred into the actual list I play. We have no activations, besides, of course, our Mana Rocks.
Ranger Captain.
After you get your creatures cast, you really don't care too much about how much mana you have. You'll draw into more later. So then you end up locking up a board. Everyone can't do anything. Now you have a 3/3 flyer. Well, actually, we're going to connive it later, so it might be an 8/8 by the end of the game. I literally had a Magda player my last tournament I was at that I just was able to all right, we're going to go Curse Totem on turn 2. Actually, I think it was turn 1 Curse Totem. Either way. And I got the Clarion down, and he was just, like, out of the game. Couldn't do anything. And now I'm being faced with an 8/8 Clarion. Just punching, going.
Yeah. Yeah, for the guys listening, it's Clarion Conqueror, the new 3-mana dragon. Flying activated abilities of artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers can't be activated. So I think Ranger Captain, right, is the only one I can think of that hits.
Oh, technically, yeah. Ranger Captain's in the list.
But that's still fine. Like, in my Esper
it's
decks,
like...
I was playing Curse Totem. And this is just better than Curse Totem in your deck.
Well, it catches treasures, too. So, like, as I mentioned, like, Smothering Tithe being a big issue with this list. Have your treasures. I got a Clarion. Good luck. Okay.
Yeah, I like it, man. I like it. And thoughts? Like, are we... Like, I'm definitely going to sleeve this guy up. Is there anything you would say to... I try to make my podcast, like, to beginners. Or, like, someone trying to sleeve this deck up. Is there anything you would say to someone doing that? Any advice or anything?
Well, honestly, at that point, it's like... One, you gotta figure out how people want to win the game, because you're a control deck. Figure out how they win first. Like, it takes a second to learn, but at the same time, you can literally sleeve up this list and start playing, and you're just gonna see the fact that, like, you're gonna draw a shit ton of cards, and then you're gonna be able to try to figure out how to win after that point. I do have the primer that kind of gives you a quick rundown about what you should be looking to do in your turns, about what mulligans you want to kind of keep, and from there. Yeah. But ultimately, sleeve it up, draw a shit ton of cards, do some combat, get some combat wins. It's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna link the list down below. I was going over the primer a little earlier. It is a good primer and a long primer. I was gonna click it and kind of read through it, but it's just
it's really long.
I want people to read it for themselves. I just don't want to skim through it because you do say a lot of good points, and I agree. Like, that's the primer is just like, do this, do that. The reason. Like, I like primers that explain it. This is why you play Raffine over this. This is why you play this over that. This is why, look at the mulligans, da-da-da-da-da. So it really explains. I have a guy, actually, he was talking about playing Hashaton on Saturdays sometimes on my LGS. I try to bring the casual Commander players from Friday night, and we play on Saturday, try to get them into competitive. And he asked me last 2 Saturdays ago, he's like, will you build me the Hashaton deck? Looks really fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this list and be like, Hashaton is a whole different beast. Play this, see if you like this. If you don't like this, you're not going to like Esper. But if you like this, like, I had a Plagon deck, and people love Plagon. Right?
And it goes back to the full factor of, like, you only have one combo that you have to explain. Doomsday's a little bit harder to, like, explain to a new CDH player.
Yeah.
But, like, you can just tell them, like, oh, just put Thassa's and Lamin in the pile, figure it out from there.
Yeah. They're not going to tournaments, but, like, to pick up the deck, do you like drawing cards?
Yeah.
Do you like playing with your commander? Do you like combat? Here you go. We'll figure it out later, right?
Yeah. Like, it just handed to someone and be like, okay, see how many cards you draw. Let's go.
I bet money you can't draw 20 cards this game. Go for it. And he's like, all right, bet.
Yeah.
What's funny, too, is with this deck, the bans, I don't think they've heard it.
They didn't, and actually, even the
Maybe
funny
Mana
point
Crypts?
was. So the funny point was, is I was actually like on the fence with playing Mana Crypt in this list because for a long period of time, I actually without Rev, without Enduring Curiosity, like I had no reason for the double colorless pip. All
Really?
Mana Crypt was doing was making me lose 3 life each turn.
Yeah, like you definitely play Soul Ring because it's Soul Ring, right?
Yeah.
But like Mana Crypt in a control slower deck like this, you could think about
There's
it.
so many spells
And like,
that like.
were you even on Jewel Lotus?
Nope.
I was gonna
Three,
say
like
maybe.
it's a 3-color pip, 3-mana commander. So like, yes, you can get the recast, but beyond that,
Yeah, but I don't know if you want to play cards like that where it's like, oh,
no.
the Christmas tree land. If Raffine gets removed twice, it's really good. But you don't want to play cards like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it. I appreciate having you on. I'm excited. I think I'm gonna make Temisaka Raffine. I'm ready to go. I love drawing cards. I think everyone needs to play, and we might have you on again. I definitely want to do a full scale of not just control, but maybe after the unbannings, if they're gonna unban stuff, maybe talk about those fringe color piles pre-ban that like Esper and Sultai are one of the best color piles post-ban. And I want to kind of more touch on the format of it. Raffine is a perfect example of I'm commander centric. I do a thing. It's inherently busted. And also, no offense to Raffine, say you see a Tivit deck and a Raffine deck, you're going to be like, oh shit, Tivit. Right? And the Raffine's going to be like, don't mind me drawing 4 cards a turn. Like, da 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 da. And then, oh, we just lost to Raffine.
Like, yeah, they'll be looking at the Tivit player going like, oh my god, when are they going to go? When are they going to go? And they look back at the Raffine going, when did you put, how much power are you?
Yeah.
What's the damage?
Yeah. Raffine's a 9/12? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't mind me. Like, I play like a Zika. I play like Thad Adele. I play the lower decks that everyone's like, man, get out of here. Why are you playing First Sliver, bro? Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And it's like, did we just lose? And I'm like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah, no, you got it, man.
But I feel like, you know, the more popular the deck gets, I feel like it's going to be harder to play. But like right now, I feel like it's in a really good spot. You got the results. I put he's 80% this year. And I looked overall, you're 40%. Like, you know, part of that is maybe your skill, but I feel like Raffine is a big part of that. Of there's probably games where you just, I got Thoracle. Cool.
Yep.
Thoracle, Fierce Guardianship, sweet. Like, I drew a bunch of cards this game, Thoracle. But a lot of games, you're just, oh, I like to beat.
In my primary link, whenever like I got the top 16 result, if that deck list had a separate deck list, I did actually a tournament report in every single what the active deck list was at the time, and then the tournament report and how the tournament went and why I only finished top 16.
Gotcha. Cool. Sounds good. That's about all the time we got for today. It's been about an hour, a little bit over an hour.
Yeah.
Thanks guys for watching. We just started a Patreon. Like, subscribe. I think we're almost 1,400 subs. We're doing really good. You know, this guy. Let's get Max back on the pod. We appreciate you having you on, man. We got my Discord's popping. I'm trying to do gameplay videos next month. So once a week, I'm trying to get people like you in the gameplay videos and just jamming. I don't have any right now, but I got Ahmad. He's gonna start editing for me. Maybe get 1 or 2 a month. I want to try to steer away from the podcast part and just be a good Magic CDH channel. So we're trying to do gameplay and deck techs and try to do everything. And this is great. You guys play Raffine, sleeve it up, talk to me about it. I think, you're in the Discord if you got any questions.
I'm in your Discord. I'm in the Animatu and Friends Discord.
I am too. Yep.
Yeah, I saw you in there.
I love that Discord.
Yeah, I'm in there. Ask your questions, ask away. I love input. Like even like one guy was like, "Why aren't you running this like Oathbreaker cards? Like whatever. If it had exactly 4 +1 counters on it, you immediately tutor for something." I'm like, I don't know why I'm not running that card. So I'm gonna test that out at some point.
Yeah, and I think it has an Esper thing where you could probably take away 5 cards easily and test new 5 cards. Like, the deck got the Dragon and Voice of Victory, and you put them in the deck, and that land you're trying with. So it's like, I feel like Esper's just going to get better, unless they do something crazy and ban Ristic Study, right?
No, actually, the crazier one is if they decide to ban Thassa's, okay?
Yeah, that'd be...
That's the crazy one.
Alright, my win con is Voltron, okay.
What's the next plan?
Yeah. Well,
and even if they ban Ristic, I mean, everyone's on like in the discussions with that I'm in. It's like, Ristic could probably get banned.
It probably should
draw cards.
Yeah, I think I played 3 tournaments last month, and Ristic and Orcish Bowmaster are like they're not just the best cards in this format; they're the most problematic cards. And Ristic has no downside. Orcish just it's not good. Like oh well, it punishes the person drawing. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It punishes the table. It punishes that guy with the creature deck because Blue Farm is casually drawing cards. Yep. That's not
Kinnan is unplayable with it. Like
right.
As long as one person can draw 2 cards in a turn, Kinnan's unplayable.
Right, a lot of those creature decks are 100%.
And then like the whole like Ristic thing is like, then you end up doing this like trade secrets effectiveness, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna cast my spells to try and advance my game state. Well, now we're drawing the Ristic study players. We're trying to stop you to win. It's like
you feel
it's
like
just trade secrets.
Yeah, or like Fish too. So oh, you guys gonna feed it? I'm like, I have this Soul Ring. I want to advance my game plan. Yeah, I'm giving him a card, and it feels bad. But you're like, Soul Ring is the card of CDH. Like,
unless Reward dies at some point.
Yeah, 100%.
Ristic sticks around going like, all right, we're going to copy it, run it. Like,
well, there's no downside. Like, One Ring hurts you. Mystic, you got to pay for it. Smothering Tie's 4 mana. Right, Esper Sentinels 1 a turn, da-da-da-da-da. Ristic's just 3 mana. I'm here to stay, guys. I'm here, chilling.
Did you pay the 1?
Yeah, and it's just, ugh. Anyways, on that note, y'all have a good night. That's Max. I'm the Doom of Fool. You guys have a good night. See ya.
I shoot my shot and it's clean. This is my city, yeah, this is my team. If you talking, it's how to be nice. I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights. Better get